Well, hello there and welcome to What's the Word in association with Ladbrokes, live from Cheltenham Racecourse. And I have some great news. We're going to be racing, folks. It has passed the inspection, so we have racing in the Cotswolds on Saturday and Sunday. And to preview the action with me, David Jennings, is 2011 Racing Writer of the Year, Mr. Lee Mottershead.
Good afternoon, David.
We've got Nicola McGeady from our sponsors, Ladbrokes. How are you, Nicola?
I'm good, thanks. Delighted racing's going ahead because I was sitting in Bristol Airport quite depressed.
Yeah, well, we're going to play maybe drafts or cards or something for the weekend, but now at least we've got some racing to watch. Yeah. And I'm also joined by our resident tipster, Mr. Brendan Duke. How are you?
Good form, thanks, David.
Excellent. Now, before we get stuck into the action, we're going to have our traditional quickfire questions. And Lee Mottershead, the first one is to you because you're our guest this week, and you're a very, very shrewd anti-post judge. I've sat beside you in that Cheltenham press room many's a time, and you've told me, I backed that at a huge price, and a lot of them have won. So what I want to know is, looking ahead to the 2020 Cheltenham Festival here behind us, what right now would be the best anti-post wager if you're advising What's the Word viewers to have a bet?
Well, I will be telling you porky pies if I said I'd placed any anti-post wagers to date, but looking at the anti-post markets, having read the script in advance, I think Chacun and Poursuit for the Champion Chase about 4-1. We were saying it on, you're sort of really, well, you're not really, but to an extent, you're betting on him getting there. And if he gets there, last year's Champion Chase, Take Out Altior, was a pretty weak race. The novices from last season didn't look exceptional, apart from Chacun and Poursuit, who was a machine, a monster at Punchestown. And if he gets here on the second day of the festival, 2020, I don't think he'll be 4-1. Well, he won't be 4-1. He'd be much shorter than that.
I like the way you're thinking. I like that strategy, yeah. If he gets here, he could be odds on. That's the way we're thinking. Yes. A Duvan style type character from years ago, perhaps.
Yes.
Okay, Brendan Duke, your question is, you've had many memorable moments here behind us at Cheltenham. Obviously, March is the big meeting. But then at the November meeting, what is your favourite memory?
I think probably Sprinter Sacre a few years ago. Because if you remember, he was coming here under a real cloud. There was a real chance it was going to be the last run of his life. He'd had his problem, then he'd come back the previous season, had 3 runs, hadn't really gone that well. So he arrives here and you think, well, we'll go and see him, but they never come back, right? They never come back, and then bolts up by 14 lengths, and the rich promise of that performance reaped an even richer dividend the following March, didn't it? It was a marvellous story that season, and it was great to be here for the start of it.
Good answer. My favourite horse of all time, Sprinter Sacre. Oh, what a horse. Nicola McGeady, it's been a very, very busy week with Ladbrokes. Now that we're racing, who have been the best backed horses with Ladbrokes this week, looking ahead to this weekend?
Well, I can tell you, David, Sarah Delac is the one we're running scared of. With Lizzie Kelly back in the saddle, this horse is going to be a terrible result for us in the Bet Victor Gold Cup tomorrow. And he's got a great record at Cheltenham, so it's no surprise to see he's been so popular. Okay, so Sir Delac at the moment is Ladbrokes' worst loser in the big race at Cheltenham on Saturday, and that's where we're going to go to now. And that is at 2:25. It is a Bet Victor Gold Cup. It's a Grade 3. And Nicola, can we get some prices, please? Well, we can't split the front two. Slatehouse and Sarah Delac are both 5-1, although I do think Sarah Delac's probably going to go off favourite. But Slatehouse looked so impressive, bolting up 11 lengths at the opening fixture. Yes, he didn't have a huge amount that he was up against that day, but winning by that amount was pretty impressive. Sarah Delac jumped superbly, really progressive horse, and has a great course record as well. Lizzie on board, it's going to be very popular. I was just typing up Dan Skelton's blog. You were beside me there, and he's got Spirit of the Games, who has been targeted for this race for a long time.
Goes well fresh. Likes the ground.
You're taking the words right out of my mouth.
I'm doing your job. Can I get your job?
7-1, so don't ignore Spirit of the Games either.
Okay, Spirit of the Games, perhaps, and Sarah Delac for Nicola McGeady. Lee, this race is one of our favourites early on in the year, I suppose. From your point of view, what kind of caught your eye maybe early on for this race? Has there been a horse you've been hoping would turn up? No,
I think actually looking at the race this year, got a big field and it's really competitive, but it's not got the shape it sometimes has when there's one horse, often trained by a man called Pipe or Nichols, who you think this one could be £10 of the handicap and might end up in a Gold Cup. I think if we look at the top two in the market, Slatehouse, hugely impressive here at the last meeting, was a different horse to the one we saw last season post-wind operation. I just wonder though, they're going into it thinking, if we hadn't run that day, we'd be £12 lower in this race. They'd be carrying a heck of a lot less weight than they are. And I just wonder how reliable that form is, albeit he tanked to the race. Cyril Delac was a winning machine last season. up £9 for winning the Plate. The Plate is one of those races at the festival I'm sometimes dubious about, because although it's a Cheltenham Festival handicap, it's not actually a target destination race in the way that, say, the Ultima is over 3 miles. It's often contested by basically a field of exposed handicappers. I think this is a race that this year might go to a more an established performer who's been competing in these sort of races reliably. Guitar Pete is the one my eye was drawn to. It's a shame he's gone up £6 for winning at Weatherby, but he always runs well in this type of race, including in this race last year. He loved the ground, he's in good form, and he's a sort of horse that, if there isn't a horse who's massively well into the weights, and I don't think there is, he could oblige.
Okay, so Guitar Pete for Lee Motter said, Brendan Duke, we have embarrassed ourselves in this race over the years. We have to go all the way back to Tranquil Sea in 2009 for the last Irish winner. Could us and them end the drought?
Well, he could do. I mean, we wouldn't have had many runners, though. We don't tend to really go after this race. But us and them, second season chasers, if you are looking for a horse that might have a few pounds in hand, look for a second season chaser, but not this second season chaser. Oh. Well, he basically ran the same race every year. If the handicapper hasn't got a hold of us and them, he'll never have a hold of ours. He's 152. I'd be shocked if he was ever a 160 horse. Now, as Lee says, maybe you don't need that much in hand to win tomorrow, and he is a classy horse. But I just think there's got to be something better handicapped than him.
Okay, so it's decision time, folks. Brendan Duke, you don't fancy us and them, but what do you fancy?
I thought Happy Diva was a little overpriced. I'm kind of the same mind as Lee, and you remember Happy Diva suffered in the carnage of the race last year, brought down at the fourth last. After that, basically the form of her runs couldn't have worked out better. She ran in some really good races. She's £3 higher than last year tomorrow, but I think she's entitled to be finished second to the good solid stick that is Guitar Pete on comeback. She wouldn't have to come forward much for that to be a big player here tomorrow. 16-1.
Happy Diva at 16-1 with Ladbrokes for Brendan Duke. For Nicola McGeady?
It has to be Sarah Delac for me, and I'll have a little each way bet on course and distance winner Count Maribel.
Oh, a little saver on Count Maribel. And for Lee Motter said?
Oh, Guitar Pete.
Guitar Pete. Yes. And I'm going to go for Eamon on Kinnick. I think it's Eamon of the Hill, is it, Nicola? I think Kinnick, yeah. If I remember my Leaving Cert Irish.
But you haven't pronounced Kinnick right.
What is it?
Just knock.
Oh.
Eamon and knock.
Yeah. Eamon and knock.
Eamon and knock.
So anyway, you've embarrassed yourself.
I have embarrassed myself, not for the first time. But I think Eamon on knock can win the main race at Cheltenham on Saturday.
What's that Leaving Cert then?
I was terrible at Irish. Terrible. All I had was English. All I have now is English.
Well, you
That's all I
carry
have.
it off beautifully.
I do. Yeah, I wish I did. Okay, moving on to Punchestown to 2 o'clock. It is the Unibet Morgiana hurdle, and it is the first Grade 1 hurdle race of the season. And we have seen the final field, and Classical Dream, the anti-post favourite for the champion hurdle, is favourite, Nicola.
Indeed. One thing we can bank on in this race is that Willie Mullins will probably continue his unbelievable record in winning this race. Classical Dream is the favourite, as you'd expect, 3-time Grade 1 winner. Paul Townend's very sweet on this horse and reckons that Classical Dream can, step up to the big league now, priced at 1-2, so not everyone's cup of tea. Obviously, the two that will cause the most problems are Saldier at 4-1 and Sharjah, who's priced at 9-2.
Lee, I was in Cloysutton on Wednesday at a press morning, and I went there thinking that Sharjah was the most underrated hurdler in Ireland, that he could be every bit as good as Classical Dream, and I came away from Cloysutton on Wednesday thinking to myself, do you know what, Classical Dream is their number one by a considerable distance.
Well, the betting market for the champion hurdle would suggest he is as well, but on the figures at the moment, Sharjah is a better horse. Won the Morgiana last season. I think he would have preferred dry conditions than he's likely to get at Punchestown. He's better on a quicker surface, isn't he, than what he's going to get. So I wouldn't be punting in the race. I think it's a fascinating race to watch. Classical Dream was so good last season, but he's a horse that inflicted great pain on me, because I'd backed him for the Ballymore anti-post.
That's a blow.
Then they didn't run him in the Ballymore, and then I didn't back him in the Supreme. So this festival started for me in a terribly sad way. Okay,
so if the 2020 champion hurdle was today, was in 5 minutes' time, who's the most likely winner, Bouvardere or Classical Dream?
Bouvardere.
Really?
He's been there, he's done it. He ended last season in great form. I think there was still enough last season to think he's not an inferior horse to the one who won 2 champion hurdles. Classical Dream is the new kid on the block, and he's really going forward, but he has to prove he's as good as Bouvardere, and if Bouvardere gets a normal champion hurdling, doesn't have the misfortune he suffered last season, I think he's still the most likely winner.
Okay, interesting. Brendan Duke, does Classical Dream deserve to be so short here in the Morgiana? Is he any value at that type of a price, even for multis?
I find it very difficult to get away from him because I just have this memory of being here last year in March, and I'm watching him go down to the start. I think he's already blown the race before he gets to the start. Then I'm watching him through the race, pulling the jockey's arms out all the way, and I'm watching him going, he'll fall in the hole. He'll fall now. Any minute now, he's going to fall in the hole. And he just started going away from them up the hill. I mean, it was just a ridiculous performance. And encouraging, he did settle much better in Punchestown, which would give you hope that he will be able to harness the considerable energies he clearly has. So he's a very exciting horse. I'd be hard-pressed to oppose him.
Okay, so it is Classical Dream, Sharjah and Saldier. We want a 1, 2, 3 from the three of you. Okay, you can start, Mr. Brendan Duke.
Well, it's going to be like an echo because I'll go Classical Dream, Sharjah, Saldier.
Nicola McGeady.
Exact same.
Lee Mottershead.
Ditto.
And probably ditto from me. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 4 of us.
That means it's got to happen then, doesn't it?
Well, you would imagine so. I do think Sharjah is probably a little bit overpriced, but I'd be surprised if he was able to beat a Classical Dream. So we can't make it any simpler for you. That's your 1, 2, 3 in the Morgiana at 2 o'clock at Punchestown on Saturday. Back to Cheltenham for the 150, and this is going to be a real slog. It is the BetVictor Smart Cards Handicap Chase. It's a Grade 3, Nicola. It's a smaller field than usual, and we've got quite a hot favourite here in a French pronunciation, which you are excellent at.
Ramses Detele is the favourite, but you know what? It's pretty tightly packed at the head of the market. 3-1 favourite, but West Approach is in there at 7-2. Big Rivers 4-1. Pop Rockstars 9-2. So it is all pretty tightly packed at the front of the market, but Ramsey Detele will love the testing conditions here. We've seen him on the opening meeting, so he'll have the fitness edge and I think deserves to be favourite. But I do like this horse, Big River, who ended last season running really well. In there at 4-1, came fourth in the Ultima here at the festival. Conditions are in his favour and I think he can run a big race.
And you know what?
So do you.
Yeah, and he's had a wind operation, which I think could be crucial. Lee Mottershead, is Ramses Detele the right favourite?
He probably is the right favourite, but I'm not tipping him.
Good. Is it Big River?
No.
Tell us.
I'm going to say something that's really silly here. I think West Approach might finally win a race.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, Thatcher was Prime Minister last time this horse won a race. He is the most frustrating horse. He cruises
that's a good race now, that is. The most frustrating horse in training.
He's one of them, certainly.
Okay.
He cruises through his races and then he just never finds. He's running Grade 1 Championship hurdles and run way above his starting price without winning. However, having done a normal West Approach race last time when he cruised through and then didn't deliver, I think this time Robbie Power will wait. I think given how slow they're likely to go in this ground, he'll feel like he's going in second gear all the way around. And if Robbie can just convince him, look mate, from that final fence to the winning post, it's not that much of a hill. If you just do a little bit of work up the hill, I think this could finally be the day, viewers, when West Approach wins a race. And if he does,
we can say we were there.
That's got to be a clip to use again if he wins the race.
Well, I'll see your West Approach and I'll raise you Mengley Khan as the most frustrating horse in training. Yeah. What a horrible horse. Brendan Duke, West Approach, is it going to be the day?
Well, it could be, but it wouldn't be for me. I mean, he didn't back up his comeback effort last year, and his jumping is always an adventure. I mean, it's certainly, if you were a gambler, what a gambler you are if you back him. It's a white knuckle ride all the way, and as Lee says, you don't even know what's going to happen until he's let down, if he gets that far. So he wouldn't be for me. I'm not a gambler enough to back him.
And what are you a gambler enough to back?
Well, I think I'm taking a bit of a chance all right on Potter's Legend, who came back here over hurdles at the last meeting, ran pretty well, wasn't knocked about, finished 7th, which I like actually in terms of this. I think he's less likely to bounce because he didn't put up a massive physical effort. Now, he could still bounce, but the cheek pieces are back on. He'll have no problems with the ground. He looks a well handicapped horse, and I think there's enough in his favour to take a chance.
Okay, there we go. So across the line, you're with
West Approach, sorry.
Big River.
Big River.
Potter's Legend.
Potter's Legend. There you go. Big River's going to win, isn't it, Nicola?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're wrong. Okay, and the rest of Saturday, we've got some cracking action. As a supporting card at Cheltenham, we've got really, really good racing and the return of Faheen the Machine, who runs in a beginner's chase at Punchestown. And we've also got action at Uttoxeter, Wetherby, Lingfield and Wolverhampton. So all I'm asking, I'm not asking for much, okay? I just want 2 selections from all those meetings from you. And Lee, you can start.
Can I go last?
Yeah, you can, yeah. Sorry. Brendan.
Couple of Punchestown, David. De Bromhead with novice chasers, we love that. So the 12.50, this Dommage Portois takes on Faugheen over fences. I backed Dommage Portois in Nace. Most unfortunately, he was brought down at the first. These things happen. Lovely big scopy horse. A lot of potential over hurdles. Think he'll take it further over fences and should be a price against Faugheen. So he's one on the 125, this Notebook, who definitely looks
Good race.
It is a good race, but he definitely looks a better chaser than hurdler. Now he'll have to be, as you say, because he wasn't the best hurdler going into this race, but he looked a complete natural on debut. The second went and bolted up then the next time in Wexford. So I thought that's correct. I thought that Notebook could take his form to a new level.
Excellent. So 2 at Punchestown for Brendan Duke. For Nicola McGeady?
Sticking with Punchestown, Authorised Art, I hope will get back on track in the 12.15. He's off a nice rating. And Paul Townend wrote in his blog today that he's, quite hopeful that he'll get back to winning ways. I can't wait to see Faugheen over fences. I hope that he can rekindle the old spark that we've seen. And then the 3 o'clock at Cheltenham, Smack Water Jack, about 9-2 for Ollie Murphy's one I like. He progressed nicely last season and was just unlucky and has come back at Aintree.
One from left field there, Nicola.
Throwing it out there.
There you go. Now, have you done your last minute cramming?
I've gone through my Racing Post app just to remind myself of the horse I was looking at. 12.40, the Triumph Hurdle Trial, one of about 30 races known as the JCB Triumph Hurdle Trial during the season. Creative race titling. All Mankind was a very solid horse on the flat, 90 rated. Looked like he could have gone on to be a decent handicap again next season. But he's gone over hurdles. Looked very good at Warwick last time, albeit in no sort of race. But I think there was a lot of potential there, a lot of reason to be excited, particularly if he can settle. So I'd like him, and I like backing staying chasers who come back over hurdles.
Really?
Yeah, there used to be a smashing horse on Nichols called Earth Mover.
Yeah.
Who came back over
Remember
hurdles.
him,
Yeah, lovely old horse, Earth Mover. Vieux Lion Rouge.
Yes.
In the 3 o'clock, the long distance handicap hurdle for the Pipes Scudamore team. I'd be going with him.
Excellent. For a man that had nothing 2 minutes ago, that was quite impressive.
Well, you ask me a question and I'll try and deliver for you.
Excellent. So, folks, if we were just to have one bet and one bet only on Saturday, your Saturday banker, the one that must win, Brendan Duke.
Happy Diva, 225 Cheltenham.
Nicola McGeady.
Big River in the 150 at
Yes,
Cheltenham.
you're right. Yeah, I'm Big River as well.
West Approach in the 150. Because the thing is, I don't come on this very often. In fact, this is my first time. I'm on about
And last.
12 months. So on that basis, I can just throw a few biggies in there. And if they win, fantastic.
Lee, if you're not going to take this seriously, we'll get somebody else. If you're going to be throwing out West Approaches all the time,
let's be honest,
this is very important business.
Come over to Cheltenham, it's a pretty empty press. You haven't got many opportunities.
We have the 2011 Racing Writer of the Year.
I'm available and I'm affordable, so don't knock it.
Very affordable.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so that is Saturday's action. Moving swiftly on to Sunday. And the 225 at Cheltenham is the Grade 2 Slower Chase. And what a race we have in store. 2 of my favourite horses in training, actually. Defi Desai, V Politolog. Nicola, how do Labrooks bet?
I think it's hard to look past Defi de Sol. Obviously, it's really close between him and Politolog. Defi de Sol 6-4. Politolog is 13-8. I think it's been the only worry for me is that he's been beaten on his last 2 seasonal reappearances with the favourite, but I still think it's hard to look past that JLT form that looks so hot. Politolog is priced at 13-8, who we saw chasing home Altier in the Champion Chase. Looking further down, St Calvados has switched to this race as well, and is priced at 4-1. But I love Simply Ned. This is his 5th running in this race, I think. I'm not saying he's going to win it, a saver at 9-1, but I'm definitely with the favourite.
Maybe I used to be a fan of Simply Ned as well.
Don't sneer.
Perhaps I'm not sneering. I'd be disappointed if Simply Ned won though, because these are proper Champion Chase horses. Is Simply Ned a Champion Chase horse?
I'm just saying a little each way saver.
Okay, an each way. So sorry, Nicola. Sorry, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
Full stick here, Lee.
I know it's very harsh. I'm sorry.
She's come all the way from Bristol Airport.
I know. I'm sorry.
Giving a grief like
I know.
that.
I apologise, Nicola. I'm sorry. Lee, is Politolog the forgotten horse in the Champion Chase market?
Not in the Champion Chase market, but I think we would be remiss to forget him here on the basis that he always wins first time out. It's just what Politolog does. And although this is a hot race for him first time out, over a trip that's probably just short of his best, he ran a cracking race in the Champion Chase last season.
Second.
It's first time out, and I think he'll win.
Oh, wow. Brendan Duke, do you think Politolog will win?
I certainly think he should be favoured based on his record fresh, as Lee says. He's a wicked jumper, and I think he's more effective at this trip than Defi.
Okay, so 2 votes for Politolog. I'm a Defi Desai fan, and you're having your little saver on Simply Net, which could happen.
I'm a Defi Desai fan.
Desai,
Okay, don't
okay.
take that away
Okay,
from me.
two votes for Defi Desai and 2 for Politolog. You're more confused than when you started. Okay, moving on at Cheltenham on Sunday to the 3 o'clock. It is the Unibet Great Wood Handicap Hurdle. It's one of the hottest handicap hurdles of the entire season. And Nicola, how did Ladbrokes bet?
Well, Monsieur Lacock's very short now at 4-1, been backed in from 7-1. Looked a very promising horse, winning the Welsh Champion Hurdle. These conditions won't be a problem, as we've seen at Chepstow and Fosslas. But I think it's going to be, there's been a rise in weight, so he's got that to contend with. Benny's Bridge was favoured at the start of the week at 6-1. A course and distance winner already this season, as we've seen. And Fergal O'Brien's horses are in great form as well. Others we need to mention, Humble Hero. He's on a bit of a recovery mission, and God knows how he's going to handle the ground. He's in there at 10-1. Cheltenham is Paul Nicholls' representative, is priced at 8-1. Again, he's won around the course a couple of times. He's a consistent horse. The negative being he's got a lot of weight to carry. And they're really the ones that we've seen a little bit of money for throughout. The likes of Countester hasn't been backed. Same with Zana and Gumball.
Excellent. And for the likes of Countester, you'd like to see money for JP1 in a race like this, I suppose. So Benny's Bridge, Monsieur Lacock, are they the right 2 at the top of the market, Lee?
Yeah. And can we be honest? This is not a good Great Wood Hurdle. This is a really poor Great Wood Hurdle. I mean, we should still be enjoying it and savouring every second, but this is a poor Great Wood Hurdle. It's not the race that Darling Rooster Booster galloped.
Khyber came.
Yeah. Oh, there's been some good ones at the Great Wood Hurdle. Not this year.
But a winner's a winner.
competitive
A winner's a winner, Lee.
race. And I like Benny's Bridge. Has had 2 visits to Cheltenham. Won both times. Good effort latest. Wouldn't need to do much more to win this.
Excellent. Benny's Bridge for Lee Mottershead. For Brendan Duke.
I don't think any of them can win, but for a nominal selection, I came up with the favourite. Brilliant, isn't it? Mr. Lacock. I love the horse's attitude. He's cheek tough. It was only a narrow win in Fosslas, but he's a very hard horse to beat in a close finish. But he got £7 for that, which I thought was plenty stiff enough. But he's only 5, has some upside. Ground will be no problem. Nominal selection, though.
Okay. We're lacking in confidence for the Great Wood Hurdle at 3 o'clock on Sunday, but there is a whole heap of action everywhere on Sunday, Brendan Duke, and I'm sure you found us a Sunday banker, have you?
I have. Just one, though. The 140 in Punchestown, Future Proof, horse of no Meads, who's done well on the flat, has struggled to get his head in front, but you could certainly make a case that he's well handicapped over hurdles and he's not exposed to over hurdles. And I thought this was a race he'd be primed for, whereas plenty of the opposition, I think, might have other fish to fry.
Nicola, you're going to be playing up your Big River winnings on Sunday, so have you found anything to help add to the pot?
Nothing outside of what we talked about. I know in the Great Wood I have no confidence in backing anything. Probably Defi de Sol as my Sunday banker.
Yeah, we're going down together, I think, Nicola. The 2 of us are fancying the same horses. Lee Mottershead, anything else on Sunday for you?
Well, where's Indulger in the Cheltenham Cross Country race?
Unbelievable.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Seems weird having a Cheltenham Cross Country race with no Indulger horses.
Shouldn't be held without him, should it?
No, well, they are going to do that because you can't just not run it because Ender's not, so you could have run if you wanted to. So I think the French will win this with Urgent de Gregan.
Yes.
And Urgent de Gregan, for me, is my Sunday banker.
Tried to go with Tiger Roll as well at the festival. Was the only one to go with Tiger Roll from 3 out. Yeah.
Always runs well on this track. Deserves to win here. Again, actually has won here before, and I think we'll win here again this time.
And ground should be ideal for Urgent de Gregan. Okay, so it's time for our 3 best bets of the weekend. And Mr. Brendan Duke, your traditional Trixie, please.
Will be the NAP 225 Happy Diva at Cheltenham, 12.50 in Punchestown Dommage Portois, and the 125 in Punchestown Notebook.
Well, that is a retirement fund, if ever there was a retirement fund. The very best of luck with those big price selections, Mr. Duke. Nicola McGeady, your 3 for the weekend.
Can't say my prices are going to be as big. Big River in the 150 at Cheltenham, in the Gold Cup Cyril de Lac, and in the 3 o'clock Smackwater Jack.
Okay, there's Nicola's 3 for the weekend. And Lee Mottershead, on your debut on What's the Word, can you get some beginner's luck? Give us your 3 for the weekend.
My 3 for the weekend are West Approach in the 150 at Cheltenham on Saturday, Guitar Pete in the Bet Victor Gold Cup, 225, and then Urgent de Gregan in the cross country chase at 115 viewers on Sunday.
I hope it's treble the odds for one winner and you get your money back. Folks, that is...
Dark side, haven't you?
I'm sorry, I was very harsh today.
Presenting gig went to his head, Lee, honestly.
You can just see the double, West Approach and Nicholas Simply Dead. You can guarantee they're your 2 winners from the weekend. So that's it for this week's What's the Word, live from Cheltenham, folks. I've been David Jennings. My thanks to Lee Mottershead, to Brendan Duke and Nicola McGeady. The very best of luck with your punting all weekend.